So the other day I finished solo leveling and I came out with a lot of YouTuber ideas. One of them was the perfect system for living up in a community. More specifically, a system in an economic system that's similar to solo leveling's living up system that can help the majority of people because our normal economic system clearly doesn't help a lot of people. Well, it can help people, sure, but there is a sizable amount of people that aren't included in this framework of a good living, a good economic life. So that's what I'm gonna make. This video is just simply gonna be about me implementing my own version of solo leveling system into our normal economic system so that we can have an economic system that actually benefits most people, or most people can share a piece of that cake of a good life. So to get started, we'll just start with the normal system. Now, since we just talked about economic system, I will try to limit myself with parameters. The first parameter will speak specifically about wealth. I know there's other factors that goes in the economy. There's tourism, there's capital, there's all that stuff that I do not want to get into, and the solo living hardly gets into it either, because this is just gonna complicate the video immensely. So we'll limit it simply with wealth, and then we'll also just use terms like poor, medium class, and rich. We will use our system. Now, the normal system basically it falls into categories. There is a mix, but really I'll say the two categories: capitalist and communist. And yes, there is a mixed country really, but if you actually think about it, and if you read up what are the countries that are mixed, you see that in those provinces of a mixed country, those different provinces have either fully capitalist and fully communist. They try to blend it a little, but they ever so slightly lean to one side over the other one. So even if it's a mixed country, the provinces have a definite system they choose to handle their world, handle things. So and that's how it is really. You will probably know what those two terms mean. And usually, to elaborate, in the normal system, unless you are Elon Musk cleaner or the government's child, you can't buy a decent house unless you're willing to sleep with 10 other dudes, which you call roommates, to make yourself feel better. Now, for the solo leveling system, well, I want to speak purely economically how it functions. At the same time, I might even touch on the the leveling part of it. So basically, economically, depending on what rank hunter you are, you get immense wealth. Up until you're just a national rank hunter, where even some countries' entire capital can't afford for you to help them. That's how broken you can become wealthy. And it's not to say in our world that doesn't exist. Yes, there's a handful of people that can rival a country's capital, especially the poor countries. Especially, they can take the country's capital, like 10 of those countries' capital, and they still would even scratch their own capital. That sounds insane how some people are wealthy. Now, in solo living system, I think it's somewhat balanced in the sense that there are ways for you to actually level up. But in the show, the manga, the manhwa, they clearly state that unless you were awakened as a strong hunter, which is, let's say, D rank and above, you can't really get much. If you just awaken as an E rank hunter, then life will really suck for you. and they don't make it clear if you can actually live up, except for the main character. The main character can live up, but the other people can't. The only way for they to actually get stronger is to get reawakened, and according to the manhwa, that's rare, and that's doesn't always give you the highest. You can be an E-rank hunter when you awaken, then when you reawaken you can just be a D-rank hunter. It's a big improvement, sure. Not, but not exponentially. You can't just go straight. I haven't heard a case of them going straight from E rank to S rank or national rank. That's just not possible right now, or they didn't make that clear to me. So basically, the system is literally like cleaning Elon Musk's poop. The difference is that there's shonen tropes in it. Now, for the moment you've all been waiting for, the moment I combine these two systems to make a economic system that's a little more pleasant than this. And yes, I hardly did any research in this. I'm just basing it from personal experience, which is very limited in my ripe age, and also from what I have read online. Yes, online. That's not the most credible way I can start this new section, but it is. I think transparency is needed when we talk about economics and trying to make a good system for most people. Now, this system is gonna, like I said, implement Solo Leveling system with our current economic system. And I showed you, I already said all the parameters on which we will discuss this upon. Now, with Solo Leveling, now I would like to start with the school specifically, because school is something that a lot of people hate. There's a lot of things off with it. Yes, there's some schools that actually switch it up and actually make you enjoy it. So I've heard from teachers. I haven't actually had a case of a student actually enjoying it, and if they did, because there's only one time that I actually heard that, I don't believe. They don't look happy. They look sad. They look terrified. They look like they want to cry. They look like they want to kill their own child and eat it, and then poop it all out just to eat it again. That's how sad they are. Now, to like actually this school system is a whole kind of big thing that I can't really tackle in this video, so we'll just start talking here. So with this Solo Leveling system, I do think that a society where achievements is valued would be somewhat beneficial, because it will really show, like, if you're a creative person and you making inspirational projects, then you will be granted a large sum of money. But in this world, that is still there. It's not consistent. Sure, it's not consistent. But if you have a world, if you make a discovery that can change this world, you will be rewarded. I'm sure of that. You will be. And yes, like I said, it's not always consistent. Sometimes things happen. Sometimes people steal. Sometimes you don't know what happened, right? You're just not at the right place at the right time. So then your project just gets blown away by all the sea of garbage, literal garbage. You know you're inferior to all those garbage, but then people just love eating garbage. Don't want to eat the actual good discovery that you made, which is sad, really sad. Now, yes, Solo Leveling is to reward people by their achievement, but I would like to say that in this world, yes, we'll have dungeons. The only difference here is that the dungeon, how about this? As the world's population rises, there's a higher chance of a dungeon break to happen. If you don't know what a dungeon break is, basically it's when the dungeon is basically it's random really, when like the dungeon gates open and all the monsters from that dungeon get to enter the human world. I think this is literally me saying that I'm gonna let people die, but at the same time we have a high population of people now. I don't think we can sustain this much longer, and I know there's some people that can disagree, that are more qualified in the case for they have done actual research and not just basing from my own personal opinion. But I think that's gonna help with the population problem. Also, with the class system by performance, I think if you have, I think it should be a system where like if you went up, there's always no way for you to go down. If you get what I'm trying to say, like if you are from poor class to like medium class, I think there's a system there to make sure that you can't go down. If you can only go up from here. And yes, they can make lazy people. Like if you make to rich class, then why can't you just be lazy? I think there needs to be another rule implemented for that too. But at the same time, I think this rule should only apply for those people that have went there, not by inheritance, but by their own connections that they made. And that is hard to actually get evidence by unless you're a government official, part of this certain FBI, because that is confidential information, But like, how would one person know how this guy got all their connections? How did he achieve all of this? The achieving part, yes, that's easy to find out. Just ask them or ask people that were involved, but with the connections, that's a little more harder. But this system only applies for people that actually did it by themselves. Yes, they can get help. Definitely they can get help, but nothing that can give them severe boost. So we can add like rules that say that you can't use this, you can't use inheritance, you can't use mommy and daddy's a certain amount of money from mommy and daddy, because that is kind of like inheritance either. We can just say you don't want to have an inheritance you want to inherit our money, but I'll give you R1,000,000. That's not just to jumpstart your business. That's just for you to go to a strip club. You don't need that money to start a business. And I think that's it really. There's not much I can cover without shutting down. So I'll be seeing you guys.